Welcome to InfoHub. In our headlines, Guyana establishes first sexual offences court in the Caribbean. Guyana has done a miraculous job at strengthening its AML-CFT regime. The police force outlines its 2017 Christmas security plan. Health centres observed World Diabetes Day with mini health fairs, and Victoria's national hockey teams return. Stay tuned for the details of these and more. And now for the details. After months of lobbying, the Supreme Court of the Judicature, in collaboration with UNICEF, on Monday launched the first ever sexual offences court. Details from Alexis Rodney.
The new court, housed in the Supreme Court, represents the commitment of the judiciary to be responsive to the concerns raised in society about the conduct of trials of sexual offence cases. Chancellor of the Judiciary, Justice Yonette Cummings-Edwards, said victims and witnesses of sexual offences require specialist treatment. She said if the process is not handled carefully, it can pose secondary trauma to them.
Therefore, the concept, the idea of a specialist court dealing with everyone involved was birthed. A court that will provide justice for all.
The United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, has also been lobbying for a court of this nature and has pumped some $5 million into funding some of the equipment to be used in the courtroom. Country Representative Sylvie Foyet said the sexual offences court will substantially benefit all victims of sexual violence.
On UNICEF's side, the support to the court is not a one-off investment. As part of the 5-year Guyana Cooperation Program, it is a very important milestone.
She said in embracing the opening of the court, the journey is to train judges and other support staff to ensure that best practices are adapted to the needs of Guyana. Alexis Rodney for InfoHub.
Alexis joins us again to report that the government of Guyana on Monday said it was pleased to adopt the model guidelines for sexual offence cases in the Caribbean and promised to work with every stakeholder to realize this objective.
Minister of Social Protection Amna Ali dubbed the move groundbreaking as it followed the launch of the Sexual Offences Court. Members of the judiciary gathered at the Pegasus Hotel to hear of the proposed model guidelines for sexual offences cases in the Caribbean. Minister Ali said Guyana has moved a step higher in its attempt to reduce the incidences of sexual violence.
Over the years, there has been a constant upsurge in sexual and domestic violence, which is cause for great concern in Guyana. And some of these cases are underreported and not dealt with in the most effective manner.
According to Minister Ali, with a number of social ills within society requiring strategic intervention, she was pleased that Guyana has moved to adopt the guidelines to tackle this social malady. Chair of the Sexual Offences Advisory Committee, Justice Maureen Rachnaut Lee, addressing the conference, said that the guidelines are filled with best practices that were all derived from the Caribbean region. These guidelines, she said, are the first of their kind in the region to put forward a comprehensive approach to the investigation, prosecution, and adjudication of sexual assault offences.
As you have heard, the problems faced by the justice system in its management of sexual offences and the treatment of complainants are multifaceted and therefore require a multi-sectoral approach.
It was for this reason that the Sexual Offences Advisory Committee was established to provide advice and support to the Jurist Project in the development of the guidelines. Alexis Rodney for InfoHub.
Stacey Carmichael tells us that representatives of member countries of the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force are in Guyana for the 46th plenary and working group meetings as each country works towards strengthening its anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism regime.
Outgoing chair of the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, Mrs. Rondalee Braffett-Knowles, in a special interview with DPI, says Guyana has done an impressive job at strengthening its anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism regime. The CFATF chair, who was speaking on the sidelines of the CFATF plenary and working group meetings being held at the Marriott Hotel, said Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Senior Counsel Basil Williams, was able to take Guyana out of the jeopardy it was in as it relates to the AML-CFT framework.
What Guyana has done to position itself for this fourth round is also impressive in the sense that what the AG has done is put Guyana forward as the incoming chair. And by being deputy chair for 1 year, effectively Guyana has gained more experience, more awareness, and has used every opportunity to best position itself.
Mrs. Braffett-Knowles said the CFATF is pleased with the progress Guyana has made thus far and encouraged all national stakeholders to continue to work together to ensure their respective jurisdictions are compliant.
This CFATF is not a political organization, so we are not involved in or concerned with the local or internal politics of any jurisdiction. We are not taking sides as between a government or an opposition or anything like that. Our remit has to do with the jurisdiction as a whole and ensuring that the jurisdiction is compliant.
Mrs. Braffett-Knowles is the Attorney General of the Turks and Caicos Islands and was appointed chair of the CFATF for the period 2016 to 2017. A.G. Williams is the incoming chair of the regional body. Reporting for InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
Commissioner of Police Acting David Ramlarine says security for the festive season will be better than previous years. Gabriela Patram brings us that story.
The Commissioner Acting gave this assurance today, Monday, at the Police Officers' Mess, Evelary. He was at the time delivering a brief on the force's Christmas posture.
I want to assure you that in the preceding Christmas periods, we gave you an acceptable level of security. In the previous Christmas periods, we gave you, with our commitment, with our discipline, with our professionalism, we gave you an acceptable level of security. This time around, it will be improved.
Meanwhile, A Division has been split into several more subdivisions to ensure effective patrols and deployment. The Commissioner Acting says the number of police ranks within the city and its environs will also be increased.
We will have more boots on the ground. We are going to, as we've done over the years, eke out from the offices and in other areas where trained police officers do clerical work, among other work, the soft type of work, and have them buttress, complement, particularly in A Division, where over 50% of the reports of serious crimes and other reports are generated on a daily basis, and give the capital city and its environs the much needed support that it has to get at this particular time.
According to Marlon Chapman, commander of A Division, the Guyana Police Force recognizes that it cannot fight crime alone and has since partnered with the city constabulary and private sector, among other groups, to ensure a safe festive season. Gabriela Patram for InfoHub.
Today is World Diabetes Day, and the InfoHub team visited the Campbellville and Industry Health Centers, where mini health fairs were held as part of awareness efforts. Here is Stacey again.
According to statistics, diabetes is the leading cause of adult blindness, kidney failure, cardiovascular disease, amputations, nerve damage, and other complications. The InfoHub team visited the Campbellville Health Center and spoke with Nurse Nalini Das Sutton, who emphasized the importance of awareness of the chronic illness which afflicts 1 in every 3 persons.
We are trying to see how best we can educate our populace so that they can able to monitor their blood sugar level, know what to eat. There are 3 basic things we normally say to the public: your diet, your medication, and exercise. As doctors said, knowing your HbA1c level. It is very, very important to us, and I think this would be very good. It is a very good opportunity to talk to patients on a one-on-one, explaining to them.
Self-awareness can safeguard persons from the complications of diabetes, which is caused as a result of too much sugar in the blood. Over at the Industry Health Center, Dr. Indira Bose listed some of the challenges associated with the disease and the numerous lifestyle changes necessary to keep it under control.
It doesn't have any classical signs and symptoms at the very start. Many people have diabetes for years and don't have any symptoms. And it's a chronic condition, meaning there isn't a cure as yet, but it can be properly managed. In a nutshell, diabetes is a problem with how the body uses sugars and starches for energy. And when that process is deranged, it causes problems in all organs.
Glucometers, pamphlets, and other items were distributed to patients at the health centers, while health practitioners edified them on the importance of a healthy diet, proper foot care, and other do's and don'ts necessary for them to live long and healthy lives. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
Graduates from the Carnegie School of Home Economics were oriented on how they can benefit from opportunities in the oil and gas industry. Tiffany Rogers has more.
The exercise is being facilitated by Eldorado Offshore. Country manager Kerry Graves-Andy says the orientation is part of the company's efforts to build Guyana's local capacity.
There's need for a catering complement on board the drill ship, as well as on the PSVs, the supply vessels. Guys have to eat.
The 3-day workshop is being facilitated by EDO's chief chef and catering manager, Calvin Chin-Soo. Principal of the Carnegie School of Home Economics, Penelope Harris, says the training is timely since there will be an increased need for catering and hospitality in the new industry.
It means that we all have to be upskilled. I need to be upskilled as well. Our instructors here need to be upskilled.
EDO is also in talks with the culinary school to develop a curriculum specific to offshore catering and hospitality. For InfoHub, Tiffany Rogers.
InfoHub's Seneca Thorne tells us that approximately 19 persons have begun training to qualify as Foreign Service officers of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
The orientation and training program for foreign officers commenced at Duke Lodge. Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenidge urged the officers to be always cognizant of current world affairs and the ministry's mandate.
This exercise is taking place in the context of a training program on various aspects of diplomacy. It is intended to be addressing the knowledge and skills required to make a successful and, can I say, a professional diplomat. It means, therefore, that a number of disciplines, academic disciplines, have to come to the fore. One can expect and need to familiarize yourselves with issues associated with those areas that are normally the purview of social sciences, political science, economics. International trade is an extremely important part of any work of any foreign ministry.
Additionally, he reminded them that at all times they are representatives of the state. A Foreign Service public diplomacy officer's job is to promote Guyanese policies and represent the country abroad. Seneca Thorne for InfoHub.
Minister George Norton calls for greater unity as he took the social cohesion campaign to Region 2. Details from Tiffany Rogers.
Minister of Social Cohesion, Dr. George Norton, said all Guyanese need to unite for the development of the country and to better address the issue of generational barriers.
We've got to be able to correct the situation, and we do it not only for ourselves, we do it for our children and our children's children. For this reason, I am extremely happy and proud to see school children in the uniform here with us today. Everything we do, we must think about it.
The minister said the attendance by residents reflected their desire for a more cohesive community. He urged parents and adults to encourage young people to contribute to nation building.
We've got to expose our youths to proper education, to practical education, so that they can make themselves, someone respectable in society, someone who can contribute to the nation building, and of course, who can themselves contribute to that better life that we have promised that you all should have.
For InfoHub, Tiffany Rogers.
And in our final report, Gabriela Patram tells us that the Guyana's men and women national hockey team returned victorious from the Central American and Caribbean Games qualifying hockey tournament.
The victorious women's gold and men's silver hockey teams returned last evening at the Cherry Dragon International Airport, where they were greeted by ecstatic relatives and a proud director of sports, Christopher Jones. Philip Fernandes, head coach of the Guyana's women's team, said he was very pleased with the result of the match.
It was a successful trip, great for hockey, great for Guyana, and I think it was a strong performance by the teams.
Both teams have now qualified for the Caribbean and Central America CAC Games set for 2018 in Colombia. InfoHub caught up with some of the players.
It was quite exhausting, to be honest. It was a long week for the team, but we ended victorious, and so that made it all it was worthwhile at the end.
It was a pretty exciting competition. I mean, it wasn't a walkover. The team that wanted it the most won. I mean, our first aim was to qualify, which we initially did, and the win on top was like the icing on the cake.
The players will have 6 months of preparations for the next leg of the competition. Gabriella Patram for InfoHub.
Thanks for watching. Remember to connect with us 24/7 on our website and social media. Goodbye.